I'm going to splatter this man come December 18th. I've won the lottery, so I'm begging Jake Paul, please do not pull out. Please don't pull out.
Oh, well, this is awkward. Hello, welcome back to the Irish Guy channel. I am the Irish Guy. I mean, who else would I be? And everyone,
leave Tommy Fury alone!
Yes, this is another boxing video. Try not to tear off your own eyelids out of boredom, lads. But come on, this is big news, okay? Tommy Fury's pulled out of the Jake Paul fight, and right now he's got everybody, including the true Geordie, accusing him of fumbling the bag, as if he's some sort of blind Santa Claus. Right now, YouTube is pointing and laughing at the guy for apparently wetting himself on the biggest stage. A professional boxer who has crumbled under the pressure of a Jake Paul mega fight, right? And is now hiding under his bed. Right? No, I'm sorry, this is nonsense. I mean, look at this clip. The man looks like he's on the verge of tears.
So guys, I'm sure you've all seen and heard the news as to why I'm not fighting on December the 18th now.
But then I contracted a bacterial chest infection, which led me go to the gym and just not being able to breathe. I had a clean break in my rib. I'm going to insert the picture here so you can see for yourself. And I had multiple fractures.
Lads, what's the problem? He is sick. If you can't box, you can't box. I'm sorry, people are saying that for millions of pounds, a real fighter would fight anywhere, any day, no matter how many limbs were broken. Oh yeah, that's very easy to say when you're sitting comfortably at home, eating stale popcorn whilst drinking Fanta Orange through a straw in your nose, tucking into the fattest Toblerone you could find whilst watching The Simpsons. Christ, it's easy to say that when you're a couch potato who hasn't so much as gone for a jog since 2012. The worst thing Tommy Fury could possibly do is fight when he's injured. I'm sorry, has anyone ever had a chest infection? I mean, I haven't, but it doesn't sound fun. I guess it's a bit like having your throat coated in 3 pints of phlegm. But if it was just that, then okay. Maybe then a boxer could scrap through a fight with a cold. But a broken rib, how are you supposed to fight with that? Honestly, does somebody want to explain that to me? It's not a headache, it's a broken rib. Getting angry at Tommy for backing out because he's got a shattered rib cage is the equivalent of 5 years ago yelling at Stephen Hawking because he won't give his seat up for a pregnant lady on the bus. No, I'm sorry. His legs don't work. Similarly with Tommy, this is a mega fight. So fighting Jake with a broken rib, I'm guessing eating Cocoa Pops is too hard a task when you've got a broken rib cage. So fighting another man in a boxing ring, it's impossible. Why would Tommy want to back out of this fight? This fight could launch him as a superstar. I mean, not as a serious boxer, no, I don't know. He'd probably get a few brand deals off the back of this. Maybe another money-spinning rematch. Maybe then a fight with Logan if he wins. They suddenly have his face suddenly advertising perfume on the side of a bus. He would be a star. The internet would be queuing up to thank the man for finally ending the big bad Jake Paul. Price him up, he'd be a caravan site version of Superman. I'm guessing right now, if he walked down the street in New York, nobody would have a clue who he is. But this could launch him in America whilst pocketing millions and millions of pounds. But you need to be smart with these decisions. You cannot fight Jake with a broken rib. You would be playing right into his hands. I mean, what do people expect him to do? If he goes into that ring with a shattered rib cage, it's the equivalent of jumping in a swimming pool with 2 broken feet. Yeah, have fun sinking to the bottom like a dead hippo. Sure, you might think it might be noble and heroic to still enter a ring even with a shattered rib. But no, one body shot from Jake and that's the fight done. And suddenly, we've just got the Fury answer to Joe Weller. The man who be sentenced to being a social media meme, to just being a clown disowned by his family, embarrassed in front of the world, being called Tommy Fumbles for the rest of his days. And why? All because he stupidly tried to force through a fight with a broken rib? I'm sorry, yes, you tubby sitting on the couch. You try and fight with a broken rib. No. Try and do the food shopping in Asda with a broken rib. I guarantee you, once you realize that reaching for the Jaffa Cakes on the top shelf makes you want to die, maybe you'll have a bit more sympathy here. Honestly, what is the conspiracy here? What, that the Furies realize that their dunce of a son, someone who's just some magazine model posing as a boxer, wouldn't actually be able to beat Jake Paul, and so decided to pull him out of the camp at the last minute? Does anyone really think that's likely? John Fury is a man who was given an 11-year prison sentence for gouging out another man's eye at a car auction. And Christ, it wasn't even that long ago. It was only back in 2010. At the press conference, Jake Paul was sitting in a swimming pool slagging off a seasoned convict. Christ above, can you imagine if Jake ended up winning the fight? At the Miami after party, pretty sure John would gate crash the thing and bite off his ear in the toilet. By the way, lads, if anyone is new here who's just discovered this channel from, the football one, then they just subscribe, alright? If you're enjoying the videos, you want to see more stuff, this is just a window where I talk about anything, alright? So, listen, if you're enjoying the videos, slap the big red button, join the army over here, you'd be an absolute legend. Anyway, back into the video. But where was, oh yeah, John Fury, born in Galway, and he comes from a long lineage of bare-knuckle fighters. I mean, as soon as I say that, they're probably all picturing Brad Pitt's family in Snatch, whereas Tommy just looks like Brad Pitt in every other film that he's done. First of all, this man, he doesn't look like a boxer. He looks like someone who probably spends every Friday night eating a face cream and Vaseline sandwich in a bath. But this Fury family, they wouldn't dare let Tommy bottle this fight because of a cold. No, that's not the Fury lineage. That's the Pauls.
You can hear my voice. I'm sick. I woke up sick. I've been sick for the past 3 days. The first thing I did this morning was sneezed 3 times.
Do you really think if John Fury wanted this fight cancelled, he would order that his son's ribs be broken? I mean, I get that he's a hard man, but he's not some mafia mob boss. Sure, the Furies clearly don't believe their son is a serious contender for any world title fight, or else they wouldn't be encouraging him to be the next KSI. First of all, who's gonna fight after this? Austin McBroom? What, Deji? I mean, to be fair, considering that man probably inhales 3 cheeseburgers every single day, I'm guessing that fight would be done inside 30 seconds. With KSI's brother taking a knee in the ring because of a pizza stitch in his stomach, but whining and moaning about this, it's all just a bit childish. This is what happens in boxing. About 4 years ago, Andres Gutierrez cancelled his fight the day before he was about to step in the ring with Carl Froch. And why? Because he fell in the shower. I mean, David Haye initially pulled out of the rematch with Tony Bellew after falling down the stairs. And back in 2015, Frankie Gavin ditched his fight with Sam Eggington because a car ran over his foot. Next one, Vidal Riley, True Geordie's mate. Oh, apparently he wouldn't pull out of fights, right? Because he's a real fighter. Well, no, because he was supposed to fight on the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. undercard, freak show undercard, and he had to pull out because of troubles with his back.
The Fury started to realize Tommy wasn't beating Jake, so to save the family name, he got a broken rib and chest infection. Tommy Fury is much too delicate for any real physical contact sports. Take up gardening, mate. Waste man chatting the hardest and you pull out. Typical Fury, lol.
I'm sorry, yes, it is easy to sit there and laugh at a Love Island meathead who looks like he's got the IQ of an Easter egg. Yeah, it's easy to do that. Yeah, it's fun to paint a narrative that Tyson Fury's brother is actually showing the bravery of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, it's an interesting theory to think that he's sitting at home every night watching It's Everyday Bro on loop whilst hyperventilating under a Costa Coffee bag. But it's not the truth. It's lunacy. Tommy Fury is not scared of Jake Paul. I mean, you might say he was terrified of Jake Paul ending his career. I'm sorry, what career? He's 7-0 against a bunch of bums. This is his career. This is the biggest fight he will ever have. I'm sorry, Tommy is a cottage mustard pie standard of a boxer. If he wasn't Tyson's brother, nobody would have a clue who he is. This Jake Paul fight would make him millions and millions of pounds. Sadly, this fight is the pinnacle of his career. At what? 22 years of age, despite being a walking hamburger of a pro boxer. I'm guessing instead of laughing at Tommy Fury, maybe feel sorry for the guy. This was going to be the biggest and best day of his life. I mean, never mind any potential wedding or the birth of any blue-eyed kids. No. This was the biggest moment of his life. Going from a Love Island villa, which probably stinks of sweat and desperation, going from that tragic circus in ITV, going from that to suddenly being boxing's hero, the man to finally defeat Jake Paul. He's been dreaming about this outcome for months. This would have been the making of him. He has just seen a minimum £2 million paycheck tossed in the fireplace. If I was him right now, I'd be stuck in bed chewing my pillow. He is desperate for this fight. He's getting paid more than some world champions, and all he has to do is fight someone who's never actually beaten a professional boxer in his life. I mean, come on! There is no way he wanted to pull out of this fight. But anyway, Jake Paul's moved on. Instead, he's fighting Tyron Woodley in a rematch. In a boxing fight that not one single person on the planet actually wants to see. Christ, well, the first match was just boring. And Jake, he was probably looking forward to the Tommy Fury fight. He could have finally got the monkey off his back by finally answering the critics and actually beating a professional boxer. But now it's just more of the same. Is he really going to be motivated to fight another retired MMA fighter who's just stuck his sporting legacy and dignity in a bin to chase 2 boxing fights with someone who used to fight Deji and Addison Gibb? To the point where he actually got I Love Jake Paul tattooed on his finger. Crazy. Nate Robinson and Ben Askren were both disowned by the world when they lost to Jake Paul, but at least they didn't resort to this. As for this fight, Tyron Woodley is going to be unprepared considering he only took this fight 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he says he's been training, but what's training? Hopping on a treadmill 3 times a week? Well, Jake, his motivation is probably stuck in the sewer. We all know he didn't want to fight Tyron Woodley again. He wasn't enthused by the idea of a rematch. He even said so himself. He said that a rematch would be boring and that nobody would want to see it.
Are you done with that rematch? Or does Tyron still have a chance to get a rematch?
Nah. I mean, by the time he got the tattoo, we had already moved on.
to fighting Tommy Fury and making that fight negotiation happen. And, you know, I don't think people really want to see Tyron versus Jake Paul again.
So yeah, Jake doesn't really want this fight. Tyron is unprepared for this fight, so it's going to be an utter wet slog. Don't bother tuning into this. It's just going to be a limp, frail... Oh, you know what? I'm going to go for a draw. Just... Anyway, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think? Alright, if you're new here and you're not yet subscribed, slap that big red button in the teeth, you absolute legend. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.